Okay. Yes, it is. Okay. So the last three sessions, we've been talking about budgeting, we've been talking about debt, we've been talking about credit. So all the things that um all the ways that our finances we kind of get into, I don't want to say trouble, but how our finances can kind of um you know get us get caught up, how we get caught up, ways we may get into a how we get out of control, how our finances might get out of control. Okay. Today's workshop is more on how how our money can benefit us, how we can benefit by our finances. And one of those ways is savings. Okay. And how important savings is in our financial life, because with savings, our savings can help us to when those out of control situations occur. Okay. Um, so oh, always got to click on it first. Okay. So first of all, there are many different ways that we save. Okay. And like I said, savings is a way that we can kind of ensure our future. It's money that we set aside for, like my mother used to say, for a rainy day. Okay. And some days it pours, right? Some days it pours. And we really need that. We really need that money. So there are, like I said, there are, you know, different reasons that people save. One of the main reasons that people save is unexpected expenses and emergencies. And we found out how important that was over the past few years with the pandemic, right? And now with the economy the way it is, savings is very important. We found out how important having that the emergency savings is in our lives, right? Um, Another reason savings can be important is saving for periodic expenses and goals, such as insurance, whether it's renter's insurance or car insurance. Also saving for taxes, especially if you find out that you owe, unexpectedly. And also saving for whether it's your school expenses or your children's school expenses. So any type of periodic expenses that might come up. And a periodic means these aren't expenses that you pay on a monthly basis. These are expenses that you might pay annually or biannually. Okay, these are expenses that come during certain times a year. Also, savings are good for, when you have income fluctuations, especially for people who aren't paid on a regular basis. Okay, so it's good to have savings in the bank to cover when income is not always on a regular basis. And then, of course, savings for the future, right? Putting away that money for that home purchase, or again, putting away for education, whether it's your education, and this is for, if for long-term education, like for college education, and then retirement. And again, retirement can be even if you are working, and your job has a retirement benefit, you may also want to have that additional retirement benefit, like having a secondary IRA that goes with the 401k that your job may be giving you as well. Because as we all have noticed over the years, income, the economy is rising, and it fluctuates, and it goes up, and housing is rising, and we, Social Security is not a stable stable income when you're looking down the line and you're thinking about, okay, I have my housing, I have my health insurance. You never know what your health may be when you get older down the line.
Right.
And
I got a question.
yes,
How
go
do
ahead.
we not get in a situation like Marilyn Mosby, where she had to pull from her retirement, didn't she? What did she pull from?
And this, and as I said, savings for the future. Okay. You have, again, a 401 is great. Okay, if you're working and you have a 401, that's great. But having that secondary savings that you're putting into an IRA, that is a cushion, because then you have a secondary set of savings besides your 401. A lot of people just depend on that 401. Okay, they don't do that secondary savings.
That's the one where we get penalties if we pull from it.
Oh, who, your 401?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's true. You do get well, you know what? With a 401, you can borrow from your 401. And you don't get penalized from borrowing from it. Because you pay it back.
Got it.
Okay. You can borrow from your 401. You're working, you can borrow from your 401, and then basically you pay it, it gets paid back through your income, through your pay. You just pay it back, and there's no penalty. You don't get penalized for it. It's not taxed. You don't get penalized because you're working. Now the IRA, that you don't want to borrow from. That's why I said if you have two forms of savings that you're putting money into, you don't mess with the second form. You don't mess with the IRA. That you will get penalized for taking any money out of that. But your 401, if you need to make a loan, because basically you're basically lending money to yourself. So that's how that works.
Isn't there a difference between taking out a loan and withdrawing? Because I know some companies
Yeah.
allow you to take a loan against your 401k, and then some you have to actually withdraw from the 401k, and that's when you get the penalty and you have to pay the
Right.
interest.
Most people
And
don't
it's
withdraw from their 401k. You don't want to take a withdrawal from your 401k unless you're leaving your job. And then you don't, and even then you don't want to do that. You want to transfer it to
I have a question.
IRA.
Are you
You're not doing it
penalized are you penalized if the job ends and you withdraw it?
and again, if you're leaving your job, okay, you don't want to withdraw that money. You want to transfer it into another type of savings vehicle. And then you won't get penalized for it. You're doing the transfer. The transfer is not penalized. You would transfer it into like an IRA or another type of long-term savings vehicle. So you're not penalized for that if you're when you leave your job. So that's something that yes, if you take all the money out, then yeah, you'd be penalized, and you're going to be taxed on it too. So if you leave your job, the last thing you want to do, I mean, is withdraw that money. You would do a transfer into another savings vehicle. So definitely, if for some reason you're leaving your job and you're not going to another job, okay. If you're going to another job, you can literally transfer your 401 into the new job's 401. That'd be an easy transfer. If you're not going into another job, then you can have your 401 transferred into an IRA, whether it's a Roth or a traditional, you can have it transferred into an IRA. And then you're not penalized or taxed.
Now, why are we penalized for an IRA but not a 401?
You are penalized for either if you make a withdrawal.
Right.
You understand that? You are penalized for either if you make a withdrawal before you turn 65.
Okay.
Right,
Okay.
Keisha, there are some companies that allow you to take a loan against your 401k.
Yeah.
Not all companies, but some companies you can take a loan, and there's a difference between a loan and a withdrawal.
Withdrawal.
So if you withdraw the money, like
You're
Renee said, you're
penalized
going to be penalized.
regardless.
And I know when I was a single mom and I left the company, I withdrew the money, and that
Did you?
following year when I filed my taxes, I paid for it.
You pay for it.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, you pay for it. Yeah. Some people don't, I get people, I work with a few people who, and quite a few who have been in that situation where they left their job, and thank God they called me first because they were getting ready to withdraw the money. I was like, no, don't withdraw the money. I was like, no, transfer the money to an IRA. Don't withdraw. They're like, what? I was like, no, please don't withdraw the money. They're like, oh, because I was like, didn't they explain it to you? They're like, no, they didn't tell me anything. I left the job and they didn't tell me. But yeah, but in the job, when you're actively in the job, and they should explain this to you, when you come in and they do your benefits, meeting, they should explain to you how they are, how the 401 works, that you can take loans from your 401, and then basically you let them know how much you want to pay back out of your pay each month to cover the loan, and that, that's how that works, and your company will let you know if they allow you to take the loans or not. And usually companies, if it's like a usually government, county government, federal government, they're real flexible in allowing employees to do the loans, because it allows employees to take loans within the company rather than going outside and doing. You're not, by allowing you to be able to take a loan from your 401 and doing that. And then you easily pay it back through your payroll deductions. So because it's directly deducted, the payments are directly deducted from your payroll back into your 401. So you're basically paying yourself. And that's very easily, and it's not it's a loan. It's not a withdrawal, so it's not taxed, and you're covered with that. And that's an easy way. If you find yourself in need of some money and you have it within your 401, it slows down your 401 accumulations, but it also allows you access to some money without you having to take money off your credit card, without you having to go get a predatory loan, without you having to go get a signature loan, things like that. So if you have that access, then that is a way for you to get some relief from, if you needed that kind of relief, and you have that access to use that as a resource. Okay. Any more questions before we move on? Okay, so as we said, there's different types of savings. You have your emergency, you have your revolving savings, you have your personal savings, and you have retirement savings. So there are different types of savings that you can start out with. A lot of people choose what is easier for them. Most people have that emergency savings And like I said, that retirement savings, those are your main two savings that I find that most people tend to focus on. Okay, and like I said, this is how they differ. You know, you have revolving savings, things that, you know, an account that you use for, you know, expenses that don't occur through, on a regular basis, your emergency savings, your personal savings. This is like just your regular savings account, you know, your personal savings account. That's your regular savings account. Then you have your emergency savings and then your retirement savings. And that can be, you know, your IRA. And like I said, it can be a traditional IRA. It can be a Roth IRA. You can, you know, it can be your 401k, because your 401k, you determine how much you put in. You can, you know, you can put in the just the basic amount, or you can put in a little bit more. And if you're lucky enough, you have a you know, an organization that matches what you put in. And like a lot of people like, so why do I need savings? My you know, my company already, you know, I already do a 401 with my company. That's good. I don't need to do nothing else. I'm putting in the 10%. My organization is matching my 10%. I'm good. I'll have retirement when I go. I got savings. That's my savings. It's like, but you know, that's your 401. That doesn't really allow you, you know, liquid savings. Liquid savings allows you to, you know, handle financial shock. Okay. It allows you to handle paying off debt without affecting your regular monthly payments. Okay. And it also allows you to build wealth outside of your retirement account as well. Okay. Like I said, you have your retirement account, but for some people, that retirement account is not enough, because that a retirement account is for, you know, when you retire. But what about if you want to build, you know, buy a home to build assets? You're not going to use your retirement account to buy your house. You know, you're not. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're not going to, you know, cash out your retirement account to put the down payment on your house. I hope not. I hope people aren't doing that, because that's not really a good plan. So,
Well, let me cancel this check then.
you know what?
But Renee, even to build long-term generational wealth, you don't think if you're able to take a down payment out and apply it toward a house, that it's not worth it? And you know,
For
in the
the
present,
for not if you're doing your the 401k. So you have to look at if the 401k, for people who are doing their 401k, if you started your job, okay, let's say you started your job when you were 20, and you wanted, then you had your 401k, and then you were going to buy your home at 35, right? Then you could possibly have enough. I mean, I have to look at the figures and stuff. And you were going to use your 401k for the down payment. So you started your job at 20. You were making enough on this job. I'm being, you know, I'm just saying. You made enough on this job for your 401k to build up enough by the time you're 35 to put a down payment on the house. So you're going to take a loan, and it depends on how much your company allows you to take out for a loan.
right?
Okay, to take out the down payment for your house. And then how much are you going to be? And then it depends on how much you have to pay back on that loan to your 401k that how much would that affect your income, that you would have enough then to be paying to coming out of your salary to then be able to pay your mortgage. See what I mean? It's not really a feasible idea to use your 401k as your down payment vehicle for your savings in terms of a loan vehicle. One, it's about it's looking at, because most people, if you use that same scenario and you take someone in their 20s who, in addition to their 401k, started a save, like a money market, which would also give them a good interest rate that they were saving for their first home as well, right? In that money market, and they're putting in the savings in the money market, starting at 20, right? And so that money market is earning let's say 8 to 10%, because they're the money market does the allocation, and it gives you it does the same allocation as like an IRA, but it's not the same as an IRA. It's more of so they're doing the same thing. They're doing that, and within 10 years they have their down payment for the house, but they're not tied in a long-term savings vehicle like an IRA, and they don't get penalized and they don't have to pay stuff back and all that. And it's the same thing. And that's how they save their money. And so over the 10 years, depending on what they put into the money market and what they choose, like if they choose moderate growth, then they could have a good amount, they could have a good amount of money within the 10 years that they've been putting it away for their down payment.
Okay.
Yeah, if they're not conservative, if they're moderate where they're not conservative, and they'd have to talk to their investment person. But if they they're, in this day and age, young people are not conservative, so I would say that they would have quite a bit of money.
Hey, speak for yourself.
Okay, I'm not going to speak for people. People are who they are. But I'm saying starting young, and
we're all conservative here.
Well, you can't be conservative if you want to have that money. So I'm just saying you can be conservative, but you'd have to if you want to have the money that you require, you'd have to take a little bit of risk. You'd have to take a little bit of risk.
Okay, I'm down to take a risk.
Yeah, I'm not saying go and put everything in stocks, but you would have to take some of it. Would have to, you can't be all in cash. You'd have to have some in stocks, because that's where the growth is going to be. But yeah, that's what you'd have to do. Yeah, because if you're looking for the money to grow quickly, you'd have to take a little bit of risk. But I'm not a financial advisor. I do have one that will tell you she can make your money grow. So that is what, if that's where the money, that's the first thing I do is I hook people up with an excellent financial advisor who can help you make your money grow. She will do that for you. I'm the counselor, she's the advisor, she does that part. But I will tell you how much you need. The industry says about 3 to 6 months of your basic living expenses. So you look at how much, and that's where it ties into like your budgeting. You look at how much your basic living expenses are for a month, and you want to have at least 3 to 6 months of that in your savings, in your emergency savings at least, so that you know if anything happens, you can survive for at least 3 to 6 months. So, what you want to do in all of this is to have a strategy, and that's for anything. Okay, you want to have a strategy. Okay, that's regardless of whether you're just putting together a strategy for emergency savings, if you're putting together a strategy for investing, if you're putting whatever you're putting together, whatever your savings goal is, you want to have a strategy. Okay. One, you want, if you're not used to savings, you want to create a savings habit. If you're not used to investing, you want to look at getting with an investment, and just understanding what investments are, whether you want to start with just regular savings or whether you want to start with investment, looking at doing investments or not. Before you even do that, you want to manage your cash flow. You can't save if you haven't even learned how to budget first, because you have to have some money to do it. You also want to look at taking advantage of one-time opportunities to save, like when you have an influx of money, like tax time. Okay, when you're getting in refunds, or if you're working and you're getting, you get a raise, or so when you get money in that you didn't expect, and you want to look at whatever you decide to do, you want to make the savings automatic. So make sure, make it so that the savings go into whatever account, whatever system you set up, it goes in there automatically. You don't see it, because if you don't see it, you never had it. And it automatically goes into whatever system you decide that it's going to be set up. And like 5 is just save through work. So if you aren't set up with your Works 401 system or whatever retirement system they have set up, then talk to them about that, because that especially if your job matches, and if you're not taking advantage of the full percentage, like I said, some people may only do 5%, or some people may only do 10%. See where you want to be, and are you having enough taken out? And if you're not, how can you take out the maximum amount to meet your goal of where you want to be, in that time? Because like I said, it can not only be a future retirement goal, but it can also be a resource to you when you need some financial help. And like I said, you already know about the spending tracker and how that can help you with managing your cash flow. So there are all kinds of places that you can use for savings. Like we said, you can decide on a regular savings account. You can decide on a retirement savings account. You can decide on an investment account. So there are lots of different ways to save your money, okay, and to grow your wealth. It all depends on what your goals for your financial future is. And once you determine that goal, then you determine, okay, where would I like to keep my money, and what kind of account would I like to do? And there's there's, there's banks and there's credit unions. There are investment organizations that you can use to do your account. And even banks do investments. Banks do IRAs. Banks do investment accounts. Credit unions do the same thing. Credit unions do investment accounts and IRAs. So there are so many different organizations, but what you want to do is make sure that these organizations are fiduciaries, and that they are, that they are they are sound organizations. So you want to make sure that you're checking those banks with the FDIC, and that they are fiduciary banks before you even, go in there and check them. If you're not sure, you can always check in with me. And I'll let you know, because there are a lot of organizations. There are a lot of online organizations now, online banks that besides brick and mortar banks and brick and mortar organizations as well. So I can always check, I can always help you go online with the FDIC, and they have an online check system that you can go on and just type in a certain organization. They'll tell you whether they are a fiduciary or not, and whether they're whether they fit all the standards before you even start to give them your money.
Okay, I was just about to ask your thoughts on that, but okay, you
Okay.
kind of summed it up.
Yep. You don't want to give anybody, not just give them your money, but give them your information. Because there are too many things out there. And every time I turn on the news, or I don't even turn on the news. I don't do the news anymore. I just go on Google. Every time I go on Google, it's like, oh, well, so and so just got breached with this and that. And like, seriously? It's like, who do you trust? Who do you trust anymore? It's like, I don't want to give anybody my information. I'm like, nope, I'm not giving you my information. Like, you don't want to do it. And then it's about, when should I, just like I said, when should I use my money? It's like, well, first of all, if you set up an emergency fund, you have to determine what is an emergency. So when do I use, it's like, I set up this emergency fund. I need to set guidelines of what do I consider an emergency to use it. Because you don't want to set up an emergency fund and then you're just dipping into the fund every 5 minutes, because then when you have a true emergency, there won't be any money in the emergency fund. It's like, oh, I have a true emergency. It's like, oh no, there's no money in the emergency fund. I used that money when I needed this or I needed that. So if you're going to set up an emergency fund, you have to set, guidelines as to what you will consider is an emergency and when you're going to use that money. So, that's why, we, at the beginning, we had the different savings, because you may want to consider, you have your regular savings, and that savings is, you can use that for, just general savings. But if you set up an emergency fund, then, you want that to be for emergencies, if, for unplanned shocks, like if something happened to the car, or if, you had something happen in the home that, that broke down or something like that. So you want that, you say that is my emergency fund. I'm not using that for anything else. And then you have your, long-term savings fund that is just for that. You don't use that. That's my savings. Like I'm using that to save for the house. I'm using that to save for, so you have that. So if you label something as a particular savings, then you have to, you have to kind of stick to this is what that is. And I don't go into that fund. And you may even want to have it in a different location. You may want to separate them as to where they are so that they're not as easily accessed as, as having them all in one bank and then it's like, oh, I may need that. You may want to separate them. Oh, you know what? This was, and now we're at questions. That's how easy, like I said, savings this is for you to ask questions. Any questions that come to your mind about savings? There's a lot, it entails different things. And just like with education, there are different types of programs that you can save for education, like the 529 savings plan that you can do that allows you to save tax-free. So there are lots of different types of savings plans that you can access, depending on what your goal is. It really does depend on what your goal for your savings is.
People told me that they've been having issues with that 529 plan and accessing it.
I know that it's gone through some different moderations. So it really does because I just went to a conference with it, and so I think it all depends on what website, because I know the conference that I went to, the website that they had at the conference was totally different than the website that I used the year before. So I think it really does depend on if you have the right information to access it. Which is why I try to make sure I stay up to date with all the current information, because it changes all the time. Any other questions? Now, in your folder, you have several documents that you can use to get started. You have a savings plan document that allows you, that allows you to create your own savings plan. Okay. So that allows you to just set your savings goal, brainstorm about strategies for savings, and it lets you, just go through what your savings goal is, what your savings towards, how much you'd like to save, what type of, what your goal is, where you'd like to get started. So it helps you to just kind of look at the the basics of just getting started with savings. One of the things that we look at when we're thinking about just setting any type of goal is considering SMART goals. Okay, and so when we're setting SMART goals, we look at whether our goal is specific, whether it's measurable, whether it's achievable, whether it's relevant, and whether it's time bound. Okay, so that's one of the things that you want to consider when you start to set your goals, is whether it's a SMART goal or not. So whether you're just looking at purchasing a home down the line, purchasing a car, even if it's as simple as just wanting to get into the habit of starting to save, you want to consider looking at those goals as SMART goals, and look at creating an effective goal. So making sure that the goal has a greater chance of, if it's specific, that it has a greater chance of being met. So you want to make sure that when you're setting it, you set a specific goal ahead of yourself, something that's defined that you can reach. So it's much easier to plan something if you just you set something specific. And then when you measure that it's measurable, you want to make sure that you're able to track your progress, so that you set a if it's a savings goal, you want to set say rather than saying that I'm going to save this much, you can say I'm going to save a certain amount each week, and give yourself a set amount that you want to save each week or each month, and then give yourself, and never put more than you think that you can do, because that you want to make sure that you set yourself achieve. You don't want to set yourself up to fail. You want to set yourself up to achieve what you're going to do. And then for the achievable, you don't want to set the mountain too high, right? You want to set it to where you think you can climb. Just like with exercise, you don't want to say I'm going to do 30 push-ups when you just started doing exercises. You want to set an achievable goal, a goal that that you can do, and do that, and that you can climb that mountain. Instead of making it a mountain, start with a hill. Start with something that you can get up. And then relevant, make sure that it's something that you want to do. If you know that you're not really interested in investments right now, then kind of focus on a savings that is relevant to you. Like that you are interested in saving maybe for a trip that you may be looking at doing in next spring, then focus on that. Or somebody who may be interested in purchasing a car, focus on something that means something to you, because when something means something to you or is relevant to you, you're going to tend to stick with it, and that means you have a better chance of being successful. So make sure that it's relevant. And then the time bound is, give yourself an end date. Give yourself a time that you want to see progress. So set a time frame that you wanna, it can, and you can even set it at increment times too. Like, you can say, well, I wanna see this, in 3 months. And then I wanna see this, we're gonna see this in, 9 months, and then we'll see this at 12 months. So give yourself a time frame of how you wanna, so that you're not just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this by the end of the year. And so you don't, so it's like, it's not really, you can kind of just hang till the end of the year. It's like, oh, was I supposed to do that? So you want to give yourself some like check-in like time slots, so that it gives you some motivation to like actually get to the goal that you had set for yourself. So that's kind of where we got SMART, how we kind of give ourselves, how SMART goals work. It encourages us, it motivates us to reach the goals that we set for ourselves. So, any questions on that? Well, you have, you have a worksheet. Nope. You have a worksheet, in your folder that goes through the SMART goals information. It allows you to set your own SMART goal. Okay. It also it shows you how to put those goals into action as well. And if you need any help in creating those SMART goals or coming up with an action plan for those SMART goals, whether it be, like I said, whether it be saving towards the, saving towards, home buying or a large purchase, or even just being able to find the money that you need to create your debt repayment plan. All of these financial goals are determined by SMART goals. All of the SMART goal can work towards all of this. So if you need help in any of that, you can reach out to me to help with developing the savings plan, to help with developing the debt repayment plan, to help with looking at your credit report, to look at creating a credit repayment plan. All of that, I can help you with just creating a better financial outlook for any of these situations. So I am available to sit down with you to see whatever your financial direction you'd like to go. It's your road. I'm just there to support you and to walk alongside with you as you determine your path.
I thought you were gonna say take the wheel.
Oh no. The wheel is yours. I am just the passenger. So we have some time if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, I
on-
had a question. Would it be better to file bankruptcy or wait for the stuff to fall off your credit?
That is a question that I would answer once I sit down and review your personal financial history.
Okay. I mean, per Credit Karma, my debt to income ratio is 10%. But now I'm being told that ain't even a real deal. I feel like I've been lied to all this time.
And like I said, per Credit Karma, that's their algorithm telling you that. What you can do is my recommend, and it's up to you. You can go on Experian and get a FICO score and see what they tell you
Yeah.
and compare.
Now, it on Credit Karma, what's there is what is there is what is being reported. So, is there some stuff that is on Credit Karma that, like, they may have information that is not on that's on your credit report, but Credit Karma just doesn't have the information?
What's happening is that Credit Karma may not be pulling everything that Experian may pull for their FICO score, because like I said, their algorithms may look at different things than the FICO score algorithm looks at.
Okay.
Okay. And that's just how they do it. Even the different FICO scores have different algorithms. So therefore they have different scores. You may have a different score with a FICO 7 than you do with a FICO 10. So because they look at different things, and that's just, I mean,
a FICO 7 and a FICO 10. What in the world? What is that?
They're different FICO scores. But we're not even going to get into that. But the thing is that there are you have 3 different credit agencies, okay?
Mhm.
When you get your 3 credit reports, you will find that not all credit reports have the same thing on them. Some of them may have some things, some of them may not have other things.
Right.
The thing is that the credit and the thing is that the Advantage score may look at different things than the FICO score does, and therefore their algorithms are different. They aren't that different that you may have a 700 on one and a 6 on another. They're just different enough that they may differ maybe 10 to 15 points, that kind of thing. But they're not so different that they're going to be that skewed.
Okay.
Okay. But if you are planning, if you are planning to go for an apartment or a car or a house, you want to know what your FICO score is, not your Credit Karma score. So that's why I said you want to get that score from, if you have your bank, your bank will usually your bank is going to have a FICO score, and they usually do it through Experian. I'm trying to think. Yeah, or Equifax. They usually do one or the other, and both of those are FICOs. So you want to get either an Equifax or FICO score or Experian score. Those are your FICO scores.
Okay.
Okay. If and those, your Credit Karma is not going to give you the score that you're going to need for any type of lender.
Based on what you're telling me, Credit Karma can't do anything for me.
I think Credit Karma just gives you an idea of where you are, but I think it's important just to, like Renee said, be, cognitive of the fact that when you go for a car loan or rent an
Right.
apartment, that they're using the FICO score and
They're
not
using
Credit
FICO
Karma. But
score.
Credit Karma they can alert you like, hey, there's, your credit's been used for something. So they give you those alerts, and I think those are helpful because if you then apply for additional credit, they're alerting you that someone did. So they're keeping you up to date in that respect. So I think they do have some relevance. That's
Well,
just
and
my
I mean, and your
opinion.
credit and your credit report can tell you that too. Your credit report will show you when someone has pulled your credit. Because it shows you all the time, it shows you all the credit pulls on your credit and all of that. It will show you all of that on your credit report. It just won't show you your score. Well, it will show you your score if you pay for it, but
Right.
it will, you can get your report for free, but it'll tell you, do you want your credit score too? But it will show you your reports for free.
And does the IRS give you free credit reports as well?
No. Why would they do that?
Mm, mm, mm.
They give you, honestly, the federal government allows you to get your free credit reports through annualcreditreport.com. That they do that, but they do not allow you the score free.
All I gotta say is Wakanda forever.
I don't even know. But okay, so I want to thank all of you for attending this workshop series. I hope it has provided you with some helpful information. For those of you who have attended all four, you will receive a certificate of participation as well as a gift card. And I have enjoyed all four classes. You have been a wonderful audience. Thank you so much. As I have explained, I am available to you after this. So please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, if you need any additional help with your credit, with any of the information that I presented here in the last 4 days. Please reach out to me. Eileen will be contacting you how you will be getting your certificate and your gift card, as well as I'll be providing you with a survey that I will please ask you to fill out for me on how you felt about the four classes. And again, I really enjoyed these four series with you guys. You have been awesome.
And you have been awesome, Renee. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to present to the parent scholars. It's been informative. I mean, I have learned quite a bit myself. So thank you so much. And I want to kind of coordinate with the group to see when's a good time to have like a luncheon to get together to celebrate, your participation, and so you can receive your certificates. And we would like to treat you to lunch, or we can meet for dinner. So I don't. Is this a good time for most people to meet in person, or would you want to do it over Zoom? I kind of would like to meet in person.
I'd love to meet all of you in person.
Yeah, Renee, yes.
In person is fine after 5.
After 5, so keep it around this time. So maybe like 6 o'clock
Yep.
for dinner.
Yeah, that's fine to me.
Good.
Okay, I will find a
I
location and keep you
I
updated.
only dine at the finest restaurants.
Well, that's not happening because we're going out on HCC budget. So
Well, there it is. We're scholars, and we only eat at the finest places.
I
I have a
I
very
will
strict
give
diet.
them that feedback, but I can tell you.
Yes, I have a very
It'll be
strict diet.
it's be someplace in the middle. It won't be McDonald's, but it's not gonna be the
I
steak
didn't
place
see
either.
McDonald's.
It'll be someplace in the middle. Someplace in the middle.
Oh my goodness.
That's
Oh my-
awesome.
Well,
Okay,
thank you
I like
guys.
that.
I just want to say
I
this
like that.
was
That sounds wonderful.
this was a wonderful program. I've learned a lot in here. Some stuff I didn't understand, but I going through work and learning some stuff I didn't understand it, but I got it now. And I will be meeting with you because I have a couple of more questions, personal, so I can
Oh.
find out more. But this was very informative, and I enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you so much. I am so happy. I'm so happy. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm
And
here
most-
to.
And most of the time I was working while I'm trying to listen.
And that's
Yeah,
being
but it worked
part
out
of
fine.
being a parent. You know, you're always multitasking, and we understand that.
That's right.
So, but we appreciate, your participation. And this will be
Thank you.
offered
I
again for
appreciate
those
it.
who didn't get the full, program. We'll be offering this again, most likely in the fall.
Yep. Yep.
So if you
Yeah.
miss sessions, don't feel bad. You have an opportunity to participate again.
It'll be coming around again.
Oh, I thought it was the wins you lose.
No,
No.
no. Renee and I have been trying to do this since last summer, but
Yeah.
as you guys know, we had a lot of changes with the Parent Scholars Program, and Renee has been so patient waiting to, do this workshop for you guys. I really appreciate her patience.
Thank you so much. We appreciate her too. So, Miss Renee, we appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, I love you guys. I love this program. So I am always available to do anything that you guys need me to.
Thank you, Renee.
Okay, thanks. See you soon.
Have a good
Okay.
evening. And I'll be
All
in
right.
touch. I'm going to sit down with Renee on Monday and come up with a day and time.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
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 All right.
Good
Thank
night,
you.